Hi guys, I'm back again today with another video. Yes, today we're having two videos. But anyways, the other video was really short, so I wanted to check this out as well. Myths the US has taught me about life in Germany, Americans' perspective. So let's hear what US has taught him about Germany. And yeah. Well, before we start, don't forget to subscribe, click the bell button, and let's get it.
Hey, what's going on today, guys? It's Trey. Welcome back to the channel. As always, welcome back to sunny, beautiful Germany. Today, we're going to be talking about a few of the myths that America has taught me about life in Germany. So stay tuned. Let's get into it. So before we get too
Let's
deep
get
into the
it.
video, I actually wanted to give two big So stay tuned. Let's get into it. So before we get too deep into the video, I actually wanted to give two big shout outs to two amazing people that I have found on YouTube.
My
And they
mom and
just
dad.
are
What?
crushing it when it comes to content, especially when it has to do with Germany versus the US. And those two people are
What?
Haley Alexis and Nate Lawson. I'm going to link their channels below. They are absolutely crushing it when it
Haley and
comes to
Alexis? What?
content. Like, their content is so real and so genuine. They don't beat around the bush. They're
But
super
I
honest from
don't
their
know them.
experiences that they've had in the US and their experiences that they've had in Germany. They have really helped me assimilate to German culture and really see how valuable this country is and to see how much this country truly offers versus life in the US. So like I said, I'm going to link their channels below. Check them out. This video would not exist without them creating the amazing content that they do. It's honestly pushed me to share my experience with you guys of all of the myths that I have
I
been
thought Germans could
taught
not joke
about
around, but
life
they
in
are
Germany.
one of
So
the
let's not waste any
jokesters.
more time and let's get into my list. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is actually National Socialism. And so, for monetization purposes, I'm actually going to be
Okay,
referring
okay.
to this group of
I get
people
it.
as the ignorance because YouTube doesn't like this word. And that word is obviously NAZIS. So for the purposes of this video, I will not be referring to them as that. I'm going to be referring to them as the ignorant. So I don't know what it is, but there's like a large constituency of people in the US that still thinks that the ignorants have a voice here in Germany. And I can assure you, since I've been here, nothing can be further from the truth. Funny enough, right before my
I never
wife and
thought
I moved here,
they
a
had a
lot of
voice
people would tell
after what
me, like,
happened.
Trey, be sure to look out for those ignorants because they're everywhere in Germany. And it's just like, dude, we live in America where there are tons of ignorance. Like there are literally ignorants that
Maybe
march on
more.
Washington. They hold protests in cities all over the US. And sadly, they're starting to grow in numbers as well. So that it's just like the fact that people think that Germany is still riddled with the ignorance and with National Socialism, it just goes to show that people are truly out of touch when it comes to Germany. And Germany obviously has done an outstanding job at helping to eradicate and limit the platforms that the ignorance have in this country. And so I just want it to be known that obviously this is a major myth that has been debunked time and time again. And there's even some platforms in the US where people feel like the German government is starting to return to National Socialism, based off of the pandemic and, a lot of the measures that were taken to keep people safe and to stop the spread. And it's just like, dude, not only is what you're saying like wrong and offensive, but it's just totally detrimental to the reputation of Germany. This is obviously
Germany,
a
yeah.
country that has come so far and has just absolutely blown away so many other westernized countries when it comes to acceptance and culture. And obviously the country is still working hard to do everything it can to make sure that everybody feels comfortable. But as far as National Socialism goes, no. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there really isn't even a platform in this country. Do ignorance exist in Germany? Obviously they do. But is it as large as a lot of Americans think? Definitely not. And I guarantee you there's probably statistics out there that can prove that there are more ignorance in the US than there are in Germany.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I feel like because US is always about US, it's always about us, us, us. We don't care about the rest of the world. So that's where the ignorance happen, right? But since the rest of the world cares about one another, not all, but still like one another and US at the same time, we are less ignorant than the US. But obviously, Philippines before, oh my God, before when I first came here, the ignorance is crazy, not racist or. whatever. It's just pure ignorance because they don't know, lack of education. That's why. But now that social media and the country is also like opening its eyes slowly but surely, it's less now. So I would say Germany versus US versus Philippines. Um, I would say Germany's way like more less ignorant than Philippines and the US. Maybe even combined, to be honest, right?
US has a larger population, but you need to understand that the ignorance in the US, they're starting to grow in numbers, and obviously they're frankly eclipsing the numbers that can be found here in Germany. Now, the next myth I want to talk about is it is too expensive to live in Germany. If you guys are new to the channel,
That's
we
what
live
I
here in
think
Stuttgart, which I
still.
believe is the second most expensive city in Germany behind München, but I'm sure that's debatable. But I can tell you right now that Stuttgart is not a cheap place to live. But with that being said, we actually came from the US state of Hawaii, which is one of the most expensive places on the planet to live.
Oh,
So
really?
not only did we
I didn't.
save money by moving here to
I would have
Germany, I
never
can assure
guessed
you
Hawaii
that
was
Germany, for the most
expensive.
part, is less expensive than a lot of places are in the US. And so let me sort of explain to you what I mean by that. Rent prices right now and housing prices in the US are the highest that they have ever been. But also, with that being said, wages have essentially remained the same for a lot of people in the
That's
US.
the
So when we look
same
at cities
problem
like
in the
San
Philippines.
Francisco, Chicago, New York
Things go up,
City,
but
Los
then
Angeles,
pay never
Miami,
goes
these
up.
are cities where rent prices and housing prices are absolutely absurd. So let's say, for example, if you live in Honolulu, where we just lived, if you make $100,000 a year, it's still gonna be pretty hard to survive in a place like that where rents are in excess of $3,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. So it's just, whenever
3,000.
I hear people saying like, Trey, like Germany
3,000 for one bedroom. Oh,
so much more
6
expensive, and
months.
like, why would you want to move
And some
someplace
people,
that's so
this
more
is good
expensive?
for the whole
It's
freaking
honestly just a
year.
bunch of fluff because it's not true. And like I said, Stuttgart is the second most expensive city in the country. Our life has improved so much and we've been able to save so much money because it is so much less than it is in the US. And I know some of you guys are going to say, well, Trey, you lived in Hawaii. I guarantee you right now, if we were to move back to our home in South Florida, it would still be more expensive than it is here
Oh,
in
wow. I didn't
Germany.
think
And
so.
so München, on the other hand, is probably the
Or
only
maybe
city
because
that
the
I'm going
pay
to
is
say
better.
is pretty expensive to live in, but at the same time, it's still a lot less than it is in the US for the most part. It still costs a lot less to live there than it does in most medium to large size cities in the US. Now, the next myth that I
Okay.
want to talk about is cheap healthcare is not good healthcare. I personally
Oh,
don't like the American healthcare
that's
system. I think that it's more
dumb
focused
thinking.
on money versus actual treatment. I'm going to talk about that in a later video. But I can assure you that the healthcare in Germany is still really good. And for a lot of people, and as most of the world knows, healthcare is actually free for a lot of people in Germany. And if it's not free,
So
it's
lucky.
still a lot cheaper than it is in the US, and it's actually world class. So a lot of physicians, a lot of medical professionals that work here in Germany, they're some of the best in the world and they're world renowned, and they're actually
How
focused
do
on
I get
helping
paid?
people, right? So whenever I hear
That's
people
my
say like,
concern.
"Oh, why would you want to live in a system where healthcare is cheap or free?" Because it's just not going to be good. And it's also really crazy that people have somehow come to the conclusion that good healthcare needs to be expensive.
Expensive.
Like,
I
I don't
know, right?
understand where that mindset came from. And, a lot of it has to do with propaganda. The American healthcare system is a huge, massive machine that has a lot of political power, and it obviously has a lot of financial
Oh, can
power
we stop
because
copying
it costs
US,
so much to
Philippines,
receive healthcare.
please?
Good healthcare, bad
We
healthcare,
can
it
actually
doesn't matter what type of
survive.
healthcare you receive, it is still very expensive. And also, there's the pharmaceutical industry. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole, but I just wanted to say that it is totally false to believe that the healthcare in Germany is not good because it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. It's totally, totally false. Now, this next one,
Mm.
I I always get a good kick out of this one. But the next myth I want to talk about is the people in Germany give too much money to the government. Now, as somebody that has a very broad understanding of the American tax structure, this is one of the most outrageous myths and probably one of the most simple myths to debunk, because all it takes a person to do is to pull up their pay stub and look at all of the deductions that go to the government in the US. It's actually pretty mind blowing. And obviously, a lot of our money in the US goes towards the military, goes to public servants, the
Mostly
police. But for the
military,
most
yeah.
part, that's really it. And I know there's a lot of people that are going to say, oh, Trey, it goes to public parks and it goes to roads. But if you look at the itemizations and if you look at like the graphs and the
The
charts and the
graphs, yeah.
statistics to see what
We've seen a
percentage
video of
of
that,
your
that's
money
why.
actually goes to those programs in the US, it is minuscule. And even though they tell you that it goes to those programs, I can assure you that they don't actually get used. So, and if they
Oh.
do get used, they get used like 10, 15 years down the line. And it's just, it's that part actually really is concerning because, these programs were put in place to help society, right? Public roads need to be smooth. Public parks need to be safe and clean and tidy. And
Hmm.
there actually needs to even be public parks. Most cities that you go to in the US, yeah, they have public parks, but they are falling apart. They're crime ridden. They're
Yeah, I was
just
gonna
in
say nobody wants
shambles
to
for the most part.
take
And
their
like, so
kids to a
kids end
park.
up being
They're gonna
stuck
get
playing in the road and
abducted
they're
or
playing in
something
streets or playing
in
in
the
unsafe
US.
areas. There's a mindset in the US that our money goes to these programs and it gets used wisely. Anybody that thinks that, I've got oceanfront property in Kansas to sell you because it's just not true. That money gets wasted essentially. Now, in
Hmm.
Germany, on the other hand, I can look out my window and see
That's the
a
thing.
beautiful public
They
park out.
actually care about the people. I would say this all the time when I watch these videos. Like Europe, most of the videos we've reacted to Germany, Netherlands, and Norway, and all that, Sweden, all those countries that we've reacted to, even UK. Yes, they actually care about their people.
And I can look out my window
I
and
just don't
see
trust
a
our
beautiful
systems,
public park out
sadly.
there, right? I
Somebody
see I
convinced
see
me.
where my money actually goes in Germany.
I
I
don't.
see the smooth roads.
Doesn't even go
I
anywhere.
feel like our money actually goes
Their
to
stomach is
good
growing
use
bigger though,
here in
so
Germany.
that's
And
going
really all it
somewhere.
takes is a few minutes of research to see where that money is allocated. And it's actually put to good use and it's put towards all of these public programs that are meant to help society, right? And it's put towards all of
Okay, I'm
these
done
public programs that are meant to help
ranting
society,
again.
right? So I feel like Germany, they genuinely care about people. The US, on the other hand, they genuinely care about corporations.
Same here.
So that's probably the biggest difference, but it's really sad. The US does genuinely care more about corporations and companies than it does about its own citizens, and you can just look at the allocations of funds. That'll prove it to you. Forget everything that I'm saying. Just go down to your local city and government and FOIA request all of the information that shows you where that money is being allocated. And it's either being given to politicians or being given to city and state and local officials, which I don't personally agree with. There's no reason why a police chief in the US needs to be making $350,000 a year. That is absurd. I feel like that money will be put to better use, actually being funneled back into the community, being given back to the people. So Germans do give a
We're
lot of
just
their money
working for
to
the
the government, but it
government.
actually gets put
We're
to
just
good use. It's
working
not being
for the
wasted.
freaking
It's not being
government.
given to some person that just literally sits
That's
in their
it. They're
office all
just
day
using us.
with the door closed and the AC and does nothing. Doesn't help the city, doesn't help people, doesn't help the community, doesn't help to actually bring upon change, and certainly they don't educate the people. I feel like education is such.
How am I like do you know that on YouTube, right? If your viewers are from US, you have to pay tax to the US. 15%. I don't know if it's 15%. I think for Philippines, because we are allies or whatever it's called, right? Thank God, Philippines. Okay, that's one thing that you did good. But because we're allies of the US, I think it's less. less than 15%. It's probably like 11. I don't even know anymore. Like I did that way back when they insist we should pay tax also. So literally percentage are going to the US. I don't even gain anything from. I mean, yes, views, but like, oh, really? Ah, okay. I said I'm done ranting, but I can't with this
Bring upon
topics. It's
change, and
pissing me off.
certainly they don't educate the people. I feel like education is such a
If
cornerstone
you don't like
here
me
in
ranting and
Germany, and
talking,
obviously a
like
lot
this
of
is
funds
not your
get put
channel.
towards education.
Like, don't
And
even.
yeah, that is probably one of the sadder realizations, is to see a country like the U.S. telling its citizens that other countries like Germany, the UK, France,
Mm.
Czech Republic, to hear them saying that these countries, you're just going to give too much money to the government. Like, which brings me to my next point. The next myth that I want to talk about is there is too much government involvement living in Germany. Not only is this extremely ironic,
I don't
because
even
for
hear
most
anything about
people
German
that know the
government actually.
US, there are obviously institutions such as the FBI, the CIA that run constant surveillance. And, there are policies in place like the Patriot Act, which just constantly watch you, and they are constantly surveying, and they're constantly just keeping track of the American people. It's pretty shocking that America can say that another country is too involved in its citizens' lives, because I don't think a lot of Americans understand just how many rights that they're losing. I always think that it's pretty funny
Mm.
when people mention freedom, right? And America being the freest country on earth. Define freedom, right? If everything that I'm doing is being monitored, is that truly being free? No, obviously it's not. It's just, and I can go on and on about
Excuse
this
me.
topic, but is the government involved here in Germany? Of course they are. But is it, in a nefarious way like
Is
it's
it
done in the US?
invasive?
Of course not. For the most part, they're really just trying to make sure that their citizens are safe and are okay. It's really scary in dark times in the US right now. And I'm not trying to like pump fear, and I'm not trying to like, say
You
that
don't even
these
have to say anything.
institutions are
We can
horrible.
hear it
It's just
all
at the end of the
across.
day, why is my country, the US, telling me that another country is more involved in my life? It's like, it's just not true. And honestly, it's a bunch of smoke and mirrors at the end of the day. Now, this next myth
Mm.
here, we're going to actually shift a little bit. And so this one actually has to do with driving. And so one of the biggest myths that Germany has debunked, that America constantly talks about, is that speeding is dangerous and it is unsafe. So obviously, I literally live probably 2 or 3 minutes from the German Autobahn, and I use it
What does
at
that mean?
least 3, 4, sometimes even 5 times a week. And I can assure you that I never ever see any car accidents. That's just one thing I do want to say. We actually did see a car accident on the Autobahn, but it was in Luxembourg. It wasn't in Germany. So we have yet to see a car accident, and really the only time that we see a vehicle disabled on the Autobahn is when like there's a flat tire or something like that. But we never ever see car accidents. We never ever see like, street racing or anything like that. People drive responsible here. They drive fast
Mm.
and they drive responsible here. So in the US, on the other hand, you have these speed limits, which are ultimately meant to be revenue streams that aren't focused on safety at all. I'm just gonna be super blunt when I mention that. That's all they are at the end of the day. So when you get a speeding ticket in the US for like going 72 and
Oh,
70, that's not meant
why
to
is
keep
US
you
so
safe. It's
similar
not
to
meant to keep people
Philippines?
safe on the road. It's honestly meant for your money to go to the government,
Oh,
right?
oh, trust
So
me,
more
we know
government
that.
involvement. I
We know that so much. So, my friend and I, okay, sorry, this is a reaction, right? If you don't really like me telling stories or talking and ranting, you just watch the video. The guy talks from start to finish, nobody will interfere, and you're happy, right? Because some people still complain, and I'm like, duh, reaction, hello, why are you here? But, anyways, so we went to Manila. Obviously, the rules are different ish, what we know. So we did make a mistake, okay, but give us our tickets, let's go our merry way. But this guy was like keeping us there just so that, we'll be like, okay, we'll pay you. So this guy was asking for like 5,000, which is $100, so that we can go our merry way. But it was a busy, it was like 6 or 5 p.m. So obviously it's like rush hour, everybody, and that's their money making time. Of course, there's a lot of police like stationed at this area, and he was being called by his other friends or whatnot, and my friend was like, we only have 2,000 pesos, so can we go? And he's like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. So we gave him the 2,000, we left, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're asking for 5,000 to let us go, and they still took the 2,000. How son of a badonkodonk. We just told them, hey, we're not from Manila. We don't know the rules. Like, you have so many signs that point every direction. So how do we know where to go, people? And literally, they didn't give us a ticket. They were just keeping us so that we can give them money. Ah, and you
Personally
know
feel
those police when you see their big stomachs.
safer
We
on the
always
German
tease them.
Autobahn than I've ever felt on any US interstate or highway or freeway for that matter. It's just there's this mindset in the US that if you're speeding, you're making the roads unsafe. And I'm going to argue that driving slow is making the roads unsafe because now you're creating traffic, but you're also just hindering the flow of traffic, which ultimately leads to more accidents. So whenever I hear people say like, oh, like, man, this guy is speeding, this guy is this, he's that, we don't need any
Speeding and
speeding
slowing
here in the
down is
US.
both
It's
traffic.
mind blowing to me that people
I
can
mean,
be
traffic.
so close minded when it comes to
Dangerous.
that, because not only does it make driving safer for everybody on the road, as long as you're doing it the right way, it just honestly makes travel so much more simpler as well. I think the highest speed limit I've ever seen in the US is like 85 miles per hour, and I think that was when I was in Utah. And the crazy thing about that is, even though the speed
Oh,
limit's
wow.
high, there's
That's
still state troopers and state patrol just all over the interstates looking to catch anybody that's speeding. And I think something that is really scary is that law enforcement is telling people that by speeding, you're putting other people's lives at risk. Not only is that narrative completely false and erroneous, it's not true. And Germany has obviously debunked that. And much of Europe that relies on the Autobahn has debunked that, seriously. So, for anybody out there that feels like driving fast is unsafe, I'll take you out in my BMW on the Autobahn and I will floor it. We'll drive to the next town and I will show you just how effective and smooth it is to drive faster here in Germany. It has improved our
as
lives in
long as
so many
it's
ways, and it has improved our traveling in so many
the
ways.
road
Now,
is
this
for
next
speeding,
one, I'm
then
probably going
go
to
for
spend a
it,
little bit of
right? But if
time
it's
talking
not,
about this
then
next one.
obviously.
So buckle up. And if you bleed red, white, and blue, good luck, because you're not going to like me after this one. The next big myth that I
Ooh.
want to talk about is, by moving to Germany, you are sacrificing your freedom. Not only does that sound just
Like, what is a
completely and
freedom even?
totally insane, right? It's not true. And all it takes a person to do is to just simply look at a metric like the Freedom Index, for example, which measures all countries on earth: quality of life, economy, housing, access to healthcare, food availability, crime. The
Hmm.
Freedom Index has done such an outstanding job at making the US look phony, honestly. And so, by the way, I just want to let you guys know that I'm not like anti-America. I'm just anti-dishonesty. And America has just lied to us so much. And this idea that America's the freest country on earth,
Oh, my
land
mom
of the
always
free,
talks
home of
about
the
this.
brave, it's honestly
She's like,
just
oh, this is
so
the land of
phony and
freedom? I don't
false.
think so.
And not only
Because she's
will
there,
you be
so that's why.
freer in Germany, you will realize that your quality of life, just by living here for a few months, will drastically change. It'll be so much better for you. And it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status is. Definitely doesn't matter what your race is. Doesn't matter what your gender is. Your life will improve by living here in Germany. And, look at
Mm.
videos like Haley Alexis and Nate Lawson, people that have lived here for a few years, and you will see just how much their lives have improved by
I
living
want to
here.
go to
And so
Europe
this isn't a political channel
already.
by any
Of course,
means,
it's
but
not all beautiful. Of course, there's gonna be like a little percentage, but at least the chances are higher in Europe compared to, let's say, America. Or I mean, I still like I would choose the Philippines 1,000,000% over US. Trust me. Like, I don't want to land in LAX or whatever airport and then get bang. Like, that's my fear, really. And I feel like I'm even, knock on wood.
For the most part, a lot of you
Mm.
guys know that the US has a constitution. There are amendments in that constitution that obviously give Americans the right to do a number of different things. You know, freedom of speech, freedom of the
Mm.
press, right to be secure in your person. I'm not going to go through every amendment, but obviously you guys know about
Those
those things.
freedoms
I can
all
assure
enslave
you
us,
that most
actually.
of the amendments in that constitution don't even get recognized by the American government. They don't even get recognized by law enforcement. And sadly, a lot of Americans just don't understand the rights that they have. So not only are people's rights violated, people don't even know the rights that they have. So it's like a person
And some
that's
people
out there
abuse the
standing,
rights, actually.
at a parade waving around an American flag. They don't really understand
It's
what
like,
freedom
oh,
means. At a parade waving around an American flag, they don't really understand what freedom means, right? They're literally being told that, hey, you're American, you're free. And that country over there, they're not free. Canada's not free. Mexico's not free. The
maybe it's
UK's
their
not
way of
free.
like keeping the
Germany, they
people
certainly aren't
and
free.
then
And
not telling them
it
the
honestly
truth, how
creates
free all the other
robots
countries
at
are.
the end of the day. There's people out there that just think that because they have a US driver's license or because they have a US passport that they
I want the
automatically
US
think that
passport
they're
though.
a
That's
free
one
person
thing.
and
Just
freer than
because I want to
anybody
be
else. Let me be the first to
free
tell you that
to
it's not
travel
true. There are
everywhere.
freedoms that people have here in Germany that
But I
people
think
in
the
the
German
US
passport
don't
is
have. And I can say
more
that same thing
powerful.
for other countries. There are other countries here in Europe that are freer than the US. And like I said, forget everything that I'm saying. Forget every word that's coming out of my mouth. Just simply pull up the Freedom Index, pull up the 2022 Freedom Index, and just look at the statistics. Look at the numbers. The proof is right there. I don't
I'm
want you
gonna
guys to
check.
think that I'm somebody that's out here just making stuff up. I always love to go to the source. I don't take what somebody says to me at face value. I'm gonna research it. Well, forget everything I'm saying, guys. Just seriously pull up the Freedom Index, and you will see that Germany is ranked higher in the
Oh,
US, right? There are
this is
several countries in
2023,
Europe
guys.
that are ranked higher than the US. That's facts. Forget about what this person is saying or what this news
It's all freaking Europe, guys.
outlet
It's
is
somewhere.
saying Germany at the end of the day is freer than the United States is. You're hearing it here. You're hearing it first. This country, Germany, Deutschland, is freer than the United States is. My name is Trey and I approve this message. All right, the next myth that I want to talk about and the next myth that I have debunked is so important to me personally because I love
I'm
this
listening, guys.
aspect
I'm
of
just.
life. I just love it a lot. The next myth that I want to talk about is the food isn't good in Germany and it's better in the United States. Okay, I could probably spend an hour talking about this myth. The food is outstanding here in Germany. It's like
Oh,
really
German
good.
food.
It's actually
Whoa.
surprisingly good, and it's probably the one thing that shocked
My
me the
friend made.
most by moving
Oh,
here. And it's
so good.
primarily because I have just had
I
it
forget
rammed down
what's
my
the
throat
name.
that Germany is a country that only has beer, they only have bratwurst, and they have schnitzel, and that's essentially it. That's
Actually, I said this in one of our other videos also. American food is all German food. If you think about hamburger, where did it come from? Germany. Sausages, Germany. Beer, Germany. Like, they're all German food. So I don't know what America is talking about, that German food is not good, because all their food is literally from Germany. Meatballs and spaghetti. Hello, Germany. Like, what are they talking about?
what most Americans think Germany is. Those three foods, and that's it. And
I'm
they obviously
still.
don't realize just how diverse this country is. They don't realize that people have come from all over the world to call Germany home, which has brought so many different cuisines to this country. I just want to put it out there, the food here in Germany is great. I'm not saying that the food is worse in the US restaurant wise, but the food restaurant wise here in Germany is really, really good. And I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised. Now, where things really don't look so good for the US is going to be food quality. And what I'm talking about is the actual production of food. Germany is just light years ahead of the US when it comes to produce, and that's because this country, like I said, they actually value people. They actually value its
Mm,
citizens. They value the health and well-being of their citizens. And there's no entities in Germany that cut corners when it comes to food. Because why would you want to play with people's health? Why would you want
exactly.
people to not be healthy? And I think for me, one thing that was pretty telling is I was at the grocery store the other day and I noticed this guy selling chickens, like rotisserie chickens. And as I was watching them spin on the grill, I noticed that they were small. And so for me at first, I'm like, man, those chickens are really small. But at the
They're
end of the
cute.
day, that's how chicken should look. If you
Should
look
be,
at
yeah.
chicken on the other hand in the US, they are massive and they shouldn't be
Mm, it's
that
like
big. They're
turkey size
pumped with
then.
all of these antibiotics and steroids, and at the end of the day, things that human beings should not be consuming. And the reason why a lot of these companies in the US do that is because it's cheaper to do. It's quicker. It
Mm,
allows them to make meat quicker and, get it out into production quicker. And so it's just it not only is it sad, right? Not only do I feel healthier living here in Germany, not only is my family healthier by living here, you can just visually tell the differences, right? Germany is a very transparent country. Also, when it comes to the nutritional facts, if you're vegan, everything is clearly labeled vegan. If you're vegetarian,
oh
things
my
are
god.
clearly labeled vegetarian. It's just
I know I keep cutting him off and saying random shenanigans, but I saw a video of the side man because they're my only eyes to Europe, right? Um, they went to Sweden, I believe, and in the bathroom they had like this machine. It's like a scale which can like is a biometric can give you your biometric measurements and like if you're like it gives so many facts if you're stressed or whatever, and I'm like, what is this sorcery that we are watching right now? It was crazy. Like, what? I'm going to use the bathroom and you're going to tell me about my health at the same time? Like, am I overweight or am I stressed and all that shenanigans? Like, I'm here for it, but why? Right? Like the fact that they're there so people can actually look after themselves. Also, like, yes, I'm gonna use the bathroom, and also in my private time, I can see if I am doing well as a human being. Right? Wow.
the food is so
I know you
it's
can see my
so
belly right
different,
now, but
and that's this really scary
I,
thing.
I
And
think I
like
gave
I
up in
mentioned
life.
earlier in the video, the US cares more about corporations. They care more about the dollar at the end of the day. And
Dollar bills,
unfortunately,
dollar
health just
bills.
goes on the back burner in the US. And I'm
Keep
not
it
being funny when
falling
I
for
say
me.
that.
I
And I know
love
a
the
lot of
way
people
it
are going to be like, well,
feels.
Trey, just go look at your McDonald's menu. Everything is like triple XL, stuff, double,
How is your
quadruple
drinks like
burger.
that?
And while all that stuff is true, even just something as simple as a cheeseburger is still extremely unhealthy just based off of the production that meat went through. It's not healthy. And even though we have institutions like the FDA, sadly, a lot of those companies and entities, they pay off politicians to be able to function the way that they do, which is unsafe, unethical,
Mm,
illegal. A lot of their production methods are detrimental to the health of Americans. And at the end of the day,
mm.
it's just not right. It's unhealthy. The food is not safe. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, Trey, it's unsafe. What do you mean? Like, when I'm telling you guys, the food in the US is unsafe. The
It's all
food
pumped
in the
with
US is
chemicals.
extremely unsafe.
Oh, do
And
you watch
so,
like US versus
and another thing
McDonald's?
I
You
just
should
wanted to
watch
mention is
that.
just look at the means of production of a lot of these companies out there. They just, they're not doing it the right way. Look at companies like Tyson, for example, that have
What
faced
is a
numerous
Tyson?
lawsuits for their production methods. And just, it's really sad. It's really scary. Food here in Germany is great. All right, guys, so we have made it to the last myth that Germany has personally debunked since I've lived here, and that is Germany is not a diverse place.
Oh,
So
trust
I'm
me, it
gonna be
is.
honest, there are numerous entities and numerous platforms in the US. They have just painted Germany as being this non-diverse country.
When
And not
I
only is that not true,
watch
it's
football, there's a
totally
lot of.
false. It is like it is majorly false. And so I think it really became evident to me that Germany was a diverse culture. Really, when we stepped off the plane here in Stuttgart, when we went to München, when we went to Frankfurt, when we went to all of these different cities and we just saw how much of a melting pot they truly are. Germany is very diverse, right? And I think one of the coolest things that I like about Germany is it's not a country that worries about race, right? I think one of the coolest things about Germany is that Germans, the German government, and most German institutions, they are so prideful, right? And they could care less what you look like. They could care less what religion you are. They can care less where you come from. If you are here in Germany and you're here to help the country, if you're here to help the country move forward, that's all that matters. Germany is one big family.
I don't know why.
That's very different than it is in the US.
I'm crying.
In the US, it is so, polarizing, and the country is, for the most part, is so divided and so split up by race, religion, gender.
Welcome to the Philippines
that,
also.
The third. And it's like, dude, at the end of the day, none of that matters. And you can have pride in where you come from. You can be proud of who you are. In Germany, people are proud of being German. And I personally really appreciate it. I wish I could say the same about the US. I don't even get treated like an American in the US. I get treated differently because of the way I look. I get treated because of these tattoos. I get treated differently, just in so many ways, and it's really sad. And I'll be the first to tell you that Germany is a very diverse country, and at the same time, there's a lot of German pride. American pride is very different from German pride because German pride is shrouded in
it's like proud,
caring about your fellow countrymen. If we're not all doing good, that's a big problem here in Germany. In the US, on the other hand, if I've got the biggest house on the block and if I've got the nicest cars, I care more about that than I care about my neighbors. I don't want to see them do better than me. In Germany, that's not the case here. I want to see everybody doing good. I want to see all my neighbors having a nice house. I want to see, my neighbors' kids go to the best schools. I want to see my neighbors get promoted at work. I want to see my neighbors start new businesses and succeed. In the US,
of course, there are going to be some people that are dickheads,
really
but
like that. It's
for the most part, I guess,
it's just
everybody's...
a really dark time to be an
What
American.
is this?
It's a really dark time to come from the US. And that's gonna do it for me, guys. I know a lot of that was probably not easy to hear for Americans out there, but I know there are a lot of Americans out there that are looking for a change, and they're looking for a new path and a new venture, and they're looking for better opportunities, right? To feel valued. I can assure you that Germany is really, and I can't, I'm not obviously a spokesperson for Germany. I can just tell you guys that this is a country that you will succeed in regardless, right? You'll be valued, you'll be taken care of. People value each other. My neighbors, they ask us how we're doing. They ask us how we like Germany. They're here to help. People are just so,
and here I
so
thought
good
Germans,
here. And
you couldn't talk to
I
them.
can't say the same in the US. I'm not
they're
saying
like
that good people don't exist
serious
in the
and
US.
mean.
It's just for the most part, it's about doing better than your neighbor. It's about being better than your neighbor. And that's not how Germany is. If we're not both doing good, then we're not good. And that's what I appreciate about Germany is they're so focused on moving forward as one, at least that I've noticed, that it has just proved to me that I don't know if I could really live in the US again with the way things are right now. It's such a polarizing country. You can't say anything. It's just, people's rights are being violated left and right in the US. People are losing their freedoms left and right in the US. It's a really dark time, to be American. And it's honestly, frankly, a really embarrassing time to be American, because not only do you have a large demographic of people that are just clueless and constantly, bleed red, white, and blue and think that this is, think that America is still the best country on earth. And it's like, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't watch the news at all. I really don't watch any media outlets, but I can just tell you that things in the US are not okay right now. They really aren't. There's a lot of negativity. Midterm elections are coming up right now, and that's just going to create even more division. The US I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the US is probably the most divided country on the planet right now. It's the wealthiest country on the planet, which, the US has a lot of pride about. But in the same breath, it is the most divided country on the planet. And yeah, it's sad. I'm very thankful to live here in Germany. You guys have been so helpful. I've made a few videos talking about life here in Germany and talking about my experiences. You guys in the comment section have been outstanding. And, I've left up my Instagram. I told you guys to message me whenever you want about whatever you want. There's nothing that anybody could say to me that is going to hurt me. So if you don't like me, cool. Tell me you don't like me. If you think that this shirt is nice and you want to know where I got it from, message me and ask me. I respond to everybody. It may take a while, but I promise you I will eventually respond to you because I value you all. We're all family at the end of the day. I learned so much from other people. I know I mentioned Haley Alexis earlier and Nate Lawson, two outstanding individuals. I learned so much from you guys, from my subscribers, from people that watch this video. So, if I said anything in this video that struck you, or if I said anything that got you to thinking about life here in Germany or thinking about life in the US, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it in the comment section. Let's make the comment section a place that is productive, a place where information is able to flow freely. I don't believe in censorship on this platform personally. So, if you have anything to say, leave it in the comment section. It won't be deleted by me. Just let's talk. Let's
I
talk
get
about life.
hurt easily, so
I'm
I
excited
delete
to be here in Germany.
dumb
It's super hot outside.
comments.
I'm taking my wife on a date tonight. We're actually gonna go see Jordan Peele's
Good
Nope.
for you.
So I'm really excited for that. And as always, thank you guys for the continued love and support. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it was insightful. I hope it was entertaining to an
was
extent.
very
And
fun.
really, for anybody that does live in the US,
But
I hope
it's
this video
super
was
long
kind of a
because I
wake-up
talk
call
a
that
lot
there
also.
are better opportunities out there for you. Because at the end of the day, your well-being, your mental health matters, right? And I just want you guys to know that I value you. If you don't value yourself, I value you. Thank you guys for everything. Mahalo for watching.
Peace. Wow, that was a very in-depth video and a very long one. I know we made it longer, right? But guys, I hope you still enjoyed it, even though I was like rumbling left, right, and center. Well, if you know me, you know that's my job is to talk about nonsensical. Sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it probably doesn't, or sometimes you don't even care for the most part. But you know, if you know me, then it means that I consider you my friend, so you have to listen to me if you like it or not. Obviously not. But anyways, this was really wow, eye-opening. And also eye-opening to me that a lot of the way we do things here in the Philippines is so much like the US, because we really really look up to the US a lot, and we try to incorporate American systems, but I don't like it. Now that I realize I don't like it, it doesn't work for the country. It's not helping the country. It's not helping any. It's helping someone, but those on top. It's like a pyramid scheme system that the Philippines or the US is adapting or has adapted, right? It's like the people who get richer are the rich ones, right? The rich will get richer and the poor will definitely get poorer because we're stealing from down here. We're putting it up. We're making it like for example, who drinks the water first? The people up there. Did you watch that movie? And then the people down there, when it gets there, it's either super just little water left or nothing, right? So the big people up there get the best of the best. They put it down. By the time it gets to our level, there's like spit already and all like food remains in the freaking water, or maybe just a drop left, right? So I feel like it's that type of system. It's a pyramid freaking scheme system that we need to change. Don't vote for me because I am not. I crumble under pressure, so I will not be a great leader. I'm a great follower, though. I'm a very loyal follower, so I will follow you. But I need somebody who is going to take actions, and then Rookie will be behind you. But anyways, thank you for joining my very long podcast. If you like this video, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.